morning we have Smiling One here with us. We've known you for a long time, Karina and Franklin and Paul. Franklin, just remind me, when did you attend our class in Portsmouth? When was that?
2005.
2005. And Joy was there, and then Ron Butler joined us. I think the five of you, we played the story to Emmaus. These were the tender beginnings of our ministry, and then as you moved forward from one prison to the next, you connected then with Smiling One and their program, and truly from then on just started growing and rising. And so wonderful to have you here as a change agent, but also as a board member of Smiling One. So you've assumed enormous responsibility. And so for us as a congregation, what we decided is at the end of every month, we want to invite someone, an organization that really has an impact in the community. And also because churches do get involved in a lot of things, but sometimes in too many things, and sometimes lacking the expertise and the time. And so it's wonderful to have the Go-Go's in Mbekweni running with the project, and just for us supporting them. Wonderful that we formed a relationship with Smiling One over many years. That last year we managed to fundraise about 31,000 and for their petrol costs. And so while many of us might not dare or feel too overwhelmed to go into these places, others do, with great knowledge and passion. And for us then to support them, to come behind them. And so our commitment this year is again to help sponsor their petrol costs. I did a little calculation. If everyone who received the newsletter this morning would give 180 Rand for 1 year, all the petrol costs would be covered. And knowing what's happening in the prisons and knowing where South Africa is at the moment, we know this is a key ministry for the future of this land. So thank you for helping to raise these questions. What does home, joy, life, care, hope mean in places like this? So over to you, Karina and Franklin. I know you have a presentation, and we look forward to listening to that, and I will just briefly respond at the end to this.
Good morning. Come closer. It's really, really special to be here today and to share a life update from us at Smiling One. And we always will love coming here because of the beautiful, beautiful partnership. Because if there's one thing that we've learned over the years is that we can do nothing on our own. It really takes all of us to contribute, and certainly also something I've learned. And I always say to Franklin over the years that building Smiling One, to us really tackling, this question, how do we build a safe and healthy South Africa for us all? It takes all of us, and it's been such a privilege over the years to invite these men, these change agents, and see how important they are to help us achieve this. And so we brought a little bit of a presentation today, and very symbolically added our car here. And thank you for helping us fuel the car so we can get to the prisons. And our vision, and I think it's really important to start with the bigger picture. In this presentation, this vision of reaching as many as we can. We actually would like to reach 10,000 inmates the next 5 years. So we need to go and drive to a lot of prisons in the Western Cape. So as you can see here on the right, the ignition, and you can see that little fuel pump. So that fuel pump has many symbols. There's a lot of symbolism in the fuel pump. There's the fuel in the car, but it's also the fuel we as Smiling One bring into the prison spaces. So we become like the Smiling One gas station inside prison, where these men in particular that we are working with can fuel their inner light and understand what that really means and answer these really important questions. And so the army of support the sponsors, the partners, and of course the support from the change agents, because Karina all alone can do nothing. But Karina, with this beautiful team of change agents, and together with you, our RUC family, can do so much more. So we have the last year, we have been able to facilitate 60 prison days. That means we have spent 240 hours on the road. Now, we don't waste any time at Smiling One. We, of course, use every minute to strategize in the cars of Franklin and me, and when we bring guest change agents, we've also brought 4 of our alumni with us inside prison to expose the inmates to the possibility of change. Because words, as I always say, that words mean nothing. It's in action, it's in the example of change that we begin to explore something more than we know. So we have also had 120 sessions inside prison, that is 480 session hours, where we've been setting up an environment for change inside prison with Franklin and myself, as I said, 2 seasoned change agents. And maybe we can just go to the next slide, Robert, just to take a view, a little peek inside the prison. So this is from the Juvenile Center at Bronfley. And I want to thank you, each one of you, and I really want to invite you on a journey today to feel what you help us achieve and what you help these men achieve. Now, in this prison, the men are between 21 and 25. Many of them have been in prison several times already. Many of them, if they would never be exposed to the gas station of Smiling One, would come in again, over and over again, because prison is an excellent university for crime. So I want to thank you for helping us bring the teachings, the leadership training, to create a safe space for them to explore what is change. What does it mean to change? If we go to the next slide, let's just remind ourselves why we do what we do and why your support matters. Now, fact is, and these are the stats, 85% will go back to prison if they have not been exposed to change, have explored the question of change, have explored what does it mean to pursue something else in my life. Now, we are Smiling One because we've been, as I always say to the inmates, this is not our first roadshow. We have more than 15 years experience of bringing these processes to the men inside prison. Now, we look at what is the symptom, and crime is a symptom. So we dive very deep. I always say we do root canals. We go to look at the human that is stuck, the wounding, to really look at if we are not dealing with the underlying causes that then lead to crime. We actually have a human being who will recommit 100% of the time when it comes to behaviors. And I think if we all think about ourselves as human beings, how easy it is to default to our less desirable versions. We might not commit crime, but we're human beings, and we all know what it means to default and have an off day or rainy day, or when as I look at myself as a mom, when I used to be more angry and the harm I actually did towards my kids by being an unconscious mom. So I understand when we go into prison, we understand what it means to be stuck, and that is what we understand as a key element in our change recipe. How do we get somebody into the driver's seat of their life? To really take responsibility and to start ask this question, do I harm or do I build, and how can I rebuild? And those are the shifts that we help facilitate. So I'd like you to meet Lunga. So let's just go to the next slide. Now Lunga, we have so many beautiful stories of these graduates. Here we have 2 of the inmates. This is Lunga on the left and Mandilage on the right. Now these 2 men, actually for the first time in 15 years, these 2 men achieved top attendance, 100% attendance. That is extraordinary when you look at a prison environment, because there's so much chaos in these spaces. And these two men are also recruiters, so they help beat the drum of change inside prison. And it will be better for us to listen to Lunga's words. So we're going to see him in the background talking, and you will be able to, this will be up on our website, and you'll get the link so you can actually listen. There will be lots of videos from the certificate ceremony, just so you can get a feel of that, what you've contributed to. But I'd like to read, and maybe Franklin, you can read for us, Lunga's testimonial that will come up on the screen just now.
Just go to the mic.
Go to the mic. Yes. Very good.
I still have good eyes. Deep down, I was a broken guy. I had a mask pretending that I'm happy, but I'm not. I went to the program to see what's happening. First day, I shared a little bit about myself. I didn't know how to share because I'm a guy who bottled things. Whatever happens, I keep it inside. It was affecting my health, my heart. I was this close to getting depression. But then I met Miss Karina. She told me, I have a rucksack and that I have to unpack it to release what's inside of me. I gave it a try. I opened up. I shared. I started to feel better. And I noticed that in life, you have values. I've never used to care about values. I don't want to lie, but they are the most important thing in my life, to know what you want. I see the sunlight now. I can open up. I can share. I'm a funny guy and no longer have this face on. The program has helped me a lot. How to deal with my stress and how to see change. My focus now is change. I'm thinking about my people outside and my kids.
Now Lunga is going to reintegrate in December. You're going to meet him. Now what is really powerful about Lunga's story is that in this safe space that we provide, he can share how scared he is to go outside. Because you know, when you have built a life of crime, that becomes your armor, it's your survival toolkit. It's really difficult to break up with crime. And break up, as I say, crime is just a symptom. Break up with these underlying issues that drives us to show up like that, to use harmful behavior. Lunga has opened a new bank account. And he explores what it means to be a new version, and it's really scary because he's not outside yet. He's never tried it. It's like getting a new wardrobe. He's never tried it on yet, and he cannot try it on until he gets outside. That's why we need the petrol station now when Lunga comes out. We are going to be there, just like with Franklin, and you've followed us for many years, how we offer that support also on the outside. So I just wanted to take you into, just to see also, you know, you see the journeys, but also, I mean, for us it's really important because we know for 15 years what it means to shift these stuck places. We have a really good recipe for change. We know it's working. We go to the next slide. Now, so Lunga, just to take him as a case study, you know, stuck up in the scarcity mindset, meaning that he is on a path, purpose to survive, there's wounding, and where the substance abuse, you have crime and gangsterism, you have poverty, unemployment, violence. So when we're stuck up there, we don't know how to get out. And we need support to shift into new places, and that's what we offer, of course. But also Lunga, he's already bringing fellow inmates to the session space. He's saying, come on. I know what it means to feel better. I've explored this. So he helps this first stage of shifting my mind about the opportunity for change, to change my story, and to begin to be active in the growth process. And I think Franklin, dear Franklin, is a beautiful example to all of us what that means. Because we need a lot of role models, because Lunga, he fell through the cracks really early in his life. Very early, he learned to survive. Because life was chaos for him, he grew up in gangsterism and crime already from young. If we go to the next slide, and I just want to give you a glimpse into some of our work in schools. In this high school where Franklin is actually leading this project. Franklin, why do we need travel companions? Why do we need change agents that can travel alongside youth? We see this beautiful young man sitting there, that's your son, who has a beautiful conscious dad today. Why is that important?
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to RUC, and Robert is so humble. But this morning when I came, I was thinking about RUC again, and you guys are responsible for me matriculating in 2006. I hope you haven't forgot that. So I think that to answer the question is that there's a void within children. I was speaking to Lunga's team the other day. Whenever the inmates start to say they can't change, that's when you know the program has worked, because now the platform of trust comes. Do I trust myself to be obedient to my values? Do I trust myself to be kind? Do I trust myself to be constructive rather than destructive in society? And I'm sitting there with them, and they have all these questions about, will it work? Will it change? What if the people don't believe? What if my family don't believe I'm changed? Who's it going to help? Is it going to work for me? They have all these questions, and I see that little child because we're at school, and Karina was correcting me one day. We had a parent conference, and I was applauding parents and saying, parents, you are amazing, you're doing a wonderful job. And Karina then comes to me, are you sure, dear? And I said, well, let me think about that. And you listen to the story of these kids, and you realize what void, what trauma, what wounds, what hurt are inside of them. And it steers their life into a direction where you won't believe the nightmares and the trauma sometimes kids sit with. And we've been busy in prison for a while, and I said to Karina in 2015, I said to Karina, I want to go back to the stories that I hear in prison, because why? Those guys are sharing their story, and you see a little kid, you see someone that is helpless, someone that has no idea what emotions mean, someone who are overwhelmed by the world, by the violence, by the chaos in society, and you realize that there was just this whole derail of their path where they ended up in crime and then sits in prison. And I said to Karina that I want to meet that kids before they come to prison. I want to meet them, because I would like to play a part in their lives. Because also with my own story, you realize that you have fathers that are not equipped, mothers that are not equipped, and it's really not to blame anyone. It's just to find that pillar, that support, that beacon in society for our kids, for our youth. Just being at school, the kids, Karina can't even get a word in when she's at school, because the kids just want to be there by us and the platform that we created. So it's very important for kids to have a support, a guidance, a sense of teaching, a sense of opening up, a sense of understanding, because what's happening to them is on the most devastating level that you can ever imagine what is happening to our kids. And you walk in these high-risk areas and you realize that they're going to end up in a place where you can't even imagine, but it's just dark there. It's just alone there. It's just hurtful and painful there. And I fast forward to this past week. I went to the maximum prison with Karina because while the juvenile process have closed down, we're opening up another process. And I was speaking to he's high up in the gangs, and I was speaking to him, and Karina has been with him for 12 weeks, and this guy says, I don't want to be in this life anymore. And I'm like, in 12 weeks, have you discovered that you don't want to be in this life anymore? And I look at Karina and I just see the magic that has happened, because I know how hard it is for someone who have tasted so much power on the dark side, for someone who has been so vicious in the underground, for someone who have accomplished, because it takes time to get to that level of in the underground. And yet in 12 weeks, this person says he don't want to be a part of it. And I sit and I look at him, and Karina has this interaction, and Karina smiles with him, and Karina asks him a question, and she laughs and he laughs, and I feel that it was such a big accomplishment, because I couldn't have seen that someone of that stature in the dark side would have crossed over and said that I don't want to be in this life anymore. And I'm just happy that RUC is our partners. RUC is joining us. It's maybe not the same like me, because I have Robert Stitzer that they were there with me to support me in my process. But you guys are there, and many won't see, but the support and how you really gives us inspiration is something that I can just only be grateful for, and to also be a role model, because why people don't believe that change is possible, and the inmates, number one, they don't believe it is going to work. So I'm just thankful and grateful to be a role model. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, you help us enable that. I just want to say that it's really, really powerful. And I feel so touched, because also we're getting really fit in how to do these processes. So if we go to the next slide, I just want to again emphasize that we don't just go in randomly. We know what we're doing. We have a really clear strategy. And Robert, you were just commending that, like just before, in terms of you checked our online academy, all our courses, and we do leadership development. And also, as I published our second book last year, 10 Leadership Lessons from Prisons to Boardrooms, which is a fundraising tool, and it's been a real privilege to take our teachings across so many different environments. So when these inmates get into our session spaces, we have a clear strategy, which is really, there's a level 1, where they'll go through the responsible individual, the basic program, and then we're looking, everybody's a diamond. A raw diamond. We're looking for the elite team, because we want to infect South Africa positively, all the youth, all the parents, everybody, and we need a big team to do that. So Lunga is one of those sitting on the leadership bench today, already after a year. I've no doubt that this inmate that Franklin was talking about, very high in the gang, he'll be right there. He still has many years to go inside prison, but we want to infect the prison environment as well. So we're building armies of light workers. I know that the word army sounds a bit hectic, right? But let's be real, life is tough, okay? So we need lots of support and to enroll them for change. And this book also, and we brought it today because it is a fundraising tool, and this is the 10 leadership lessons. It gives a glimpse into our world. Some of the key ingredients in change that we have discovered are really important to set up an environment for change, to invite for change, to begin to snack at the buffet and explore more, to enroll ourselves as apprentices, to begin to become change champions, have these safe spaces, and then, very importantly, to beat the drum of change, so that others, through the example you become, say, I want some of that. And that is the change agent, like Franklin, like Lunga, and many of the others still to come. So if we take the next, so we also want to gift our beautiful RUC family. So you will be able to purchase the book, which will be part of the fundraising campaign. And we also want to gift you through the year workshop. So if you're curious about how we work inside prison, we would like to gift you a shift workshop. We'll find a date so that you can actually workshop the book, because the book can't really just be read. It's a workshop that takes us into shifting stuck places and really finding out, we as human beings, where are we stuck? What's my desert? And what does it look like to create an oasis? So I would like to kind of conclude with a little chapter reading. I might have shared it before, Robert, because it's one of my favorite quotes, and I keep going back to it. It's really about what, like when we look at our shared responsibility. So it's a poem by Khalil. And I mentioned in the 9th lesson on Ubuntu, I am because you are, and we're not meant to do things on our own. And I'm just going to share one line from that, and then read here from a page. And as a single leaf turns not yellow on a tree, but with the silent knowledge of the whole tree, so the wrongdoer cannot do wrong without the hidden will of you all. Let's just listen to that again. As a single leaf turns not yellow, but with the silent knowledge of the whole tree, so the wrongdoer cannot do wrong without the hidden will of you all. So to me, this poem is a constant reminder of Ubuntu, a lesson I strive to live every day, as long as you are out there lost in your forgetfulness, caught in your humanness. I'm also out there. I only understood the shared responsibility Khalil speaks once I fully engaged the quest and met my own human in her forgetfulness, and became radically honest about my own limitations, and thus could meet others in theirs. The prison work has been an incredible teacher. It stripped me of everything I knew, no longer informed by my own beliefs, not in service of you and me, I could finally get into my heart space and be guided by it. I realized there's me in we, and we in me. We're not separate. In other words, you and I are cells within the same body. Our existences intertwined, so what you do to you, you also do to me, and vice versa. Being in service means to care for both our individual and our collective well-being. Thank you. Thanks. And thank you, very important thank you to this beautiful man for Thank you. And we will be able to, we'll have the book here, but we'll also leave some books with Robert. So if you want, if some of you are keen to get your own personal signed copy. Thank you, Robert.
Please stay with me here in front. Joy, join me here in the front for a moment as one of our members who's been very involved in the prison ministry. And I invite us all to bless them now for their work as we sing together. We bring you peace. We pray for peace in our community, in our prisons. Let us stand. Shalom.
Shalom,